And welcome back, Shawn. Man, our basketball teams. Well, I stand. Okay, my favorite basketball team and the team that you are currently kind of saddled with because your favorite player plays for them. They are like conjoined twins at the moment, man. You cannot keep the Phoenix Suns out of your mouth if you're talking about the Indiana Pacers, and maybe a little bit vice versa at this point. So naturally, we're going to start where none of the other shows would start, and we're going to start with the least known name, which would be my man, and I hope your homie, Jalen Smith. My man Sticks, a fellow goggles wearer. You know, Sean B, I know. Yeah.
That's my dog.
So before we get into the deal, the free, because myself and other Pacers fans are drooling over this, and I'll get into that when it's my turn. But before I spin my web, you got to experience Jalen Smith as he was playing in Phoenix. So what were your thoughts, like getting to watch him? What's your take? If you had to, I guess a casual scouting report, if you will, what's your vibe check on Jalen?
I like him a lot. I was actually very bummed out to see him go. I mean, granted, it was kind of, the writing was on a wall for a while. Like, it wasn't a surprise when he got, shipped off to Indiana, but it was bitter. I mean, it was sad nonetheless. So, I have no ill will towards the guy. I think he has potential to be a really solid player. But in order for him to do that, he's going to need minutes, and that just wasn't something that he was getting in Phoenix. So I'm actually happy for him in the long, like that he's in a situation where he probably is going to get a lot more playing time than he would have if he continued to stay in Phoenix. So, like I said, no hard feelings. I'm hoping he turns into a stud for y'all. That's totally cool by me, bro.
Yeah, and to add to your argument for the folks at home who maybe don't understand what we're getting at here, in the 2020-2021 season, in his 27 games, Jalen averaged 5.8 minutes per game, scoring only 2 points per game. And then in the 29 games that he played with Phoenix last year, he averaged only 13.2 minutes, and only 6 points per game. However, once he got to Indiana, he was playing nearly 25 minutes per game, attempting nearly 10 field goals a game, and his averages went up to 13.4 points. He averaged nearly 8 rebounds, almost an assist, and 1 whole block per game, while turning the ball over less than once a game. So the promise is right there. I mean, this guy, he's shot and very efficient from the floor. I didn't even realize he had a 3-point shot, but he attempted almost 4 threes a game in Indiana and shot 37% from 3. That's not terrible for a forward that I didn't even know could shoot.
Right.
And now we'll get a little bit into the deals. I felt the same way. I was a little saddened when this trade initially happened, because the deal was, we sent Torrey Craig back to Phoenix for Jalen. And I remember how excited I was. I think you and I talked. I think you were the one who told me when Torrey Craig came over, you're like, you guys got a good one heading over to Indianapolis. So I was sad to see him leave, because moves like that are also an admittance of this isn't going to be our year. When you move a playoff caliber role player like that, it's a surefire sign, especially when you trade him for a guy who's playing less than 15 minutes a game. It's a surefire sign that you're starting the rebuild. However, I've loved everything I've seen from Jalen Smith. The Pacers fans have a fun little Twitter trend where for the entire second half of last season, they were saying fake negative things about him to try to convince other teams to not sign him. He was the worst kept secret, I thought, in the NBA. I thought for sure he was going to get some money, which is why I was surprised that he signed a 3-year, $15.1 million contract with the Pacers. The third year is a player option, includes a 10% trade kicker. But he could have gotten more money elsewhere, and part of me thinks it was not only the playing opportunity, but the just undeniable love from the fan base that convinced Jalen to stick around. I'm excited about this, and I think we're going to have one. You know what this reminds me of, Shawn? And I know you're going to be one of the people who was around for this and can actually speak on it with me. But this reminds me, come along with me for a minute if you will, of a former young power forward who was buried on the bench in Portland. A young man who was traded from the Trailblazers to the Indiana Pacers, who would one day, well, he was always Jermaine O'Neal, but he would one day become the Jermaine O'Neal, the Pacers' perennial all-star and the eventual captain of that team. He kind of took over for Reggie Miller. These are very similar situations. That's all I'm saying. You never know.
Yeah, you sure don't until it's happening right in front of you, bro. So, I mean, that very well could be the case. I mean, I didn't even really think about that. Yeah, I mean, it looks very, very similar. Feels very similar for sure. Because, I mean, Jermaine O'Neal, no one thought he would be the caliber player that he became. Like, no one, people wrote him off pretty much from jump, dude. He was a stud in high school, and all that good shit, and coming out, no one really thought he had what it takes at the NBA level. Like, I remember watching a little documentary about him not too long ago, actually. There was a lot of discussion about how he was, wrote off from the beginning, and he turned into be the stud that we know today. So, Jalen Smith has that same kind of potential, my dude. Like, there's something about players, man, the underdog players, like something about dudes with chips on their shoulder. Like, you can't ever underestimate a dude with a chip on their shoulder. Like, there's no telling. Like, seriously, I know it sounds cliche, but like, we see it time and time again, dude. Like, a lot of the time with these players that come out who aren't very, are highly heralded or whatever the case may be, have a lot of knocks against them for whatever reasons. There's more often than not, I feel like a lot of them dudes flourish because, there's certain type of dudes, certain kind of players who need that, like, negativity. It's like you got one of the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, used to make shit up just to have a reason to go out and put the kill switch on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, would tell himself lies just to get himself motivated. I mean, there's dudes like that, bro. They just need someone dogging them constantly. And that very well, not saying people out here dogging Jalen, because I think it's honestly kind of the opposite. I mean, I feel like, I'm sure you're not the only Pacers fan who's probably embracing him. He's got hella potential. You guys saw that last year. Like, his numbers, once you gave him playing time, his numbers definitely went up. That's a good sign. So, but I think him getting drafted first round and then pretty much sitting on the bench for a whole season and a half probably didn't sit with him tight. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm sure he feels like he's got something to prove. So I'm excited to see what he does with his time in Indiana. Like, I really do think you guys got a stud and make it for real.
Well, I hate to be that show, but I absolutely agree with you. Of course I do. I hear the angry keyboards already. Of course, I'm being a homer. Let me just say it for you. I understand. But two things can be true at the same time. So just remember, I could be just as right about this as I was about Tristan Thompson to Chicago, but I shouldn't bring that up every episode. Anyway, Jalen Smith is only 20.
I'm a Chicago fan typing a comment right now. Like, bro, right now someone's typing like, this dude.
It's okay, as long as me and the Pistons fans are cool, because they got an exciting young team I can't wait to watch, even though it's going to be to my team's detriment in the standings at times. But, when we were talking about Jalen Smith, you talk about that chip on the shoulder, and it's a good point, and it's one of the reasons that I thought he was such a good signing is that we really haven't had a chance to see what he could do if given the opportunity to flourish. But then, all of a sudden things break down in Phoenix between Deandre Ayton and the front office. I will leave a link. Those of you who haven't heard our thoughts on all that, I'm not going to rehash it. We talked about it for 30 minutes. Go find that episode. We'll talk about that. So, obviously, for those who just want the TLDR, Shawn disagrees and very adamantly believes that Phoenix should make amends and go ahead and sign Ayton. For what it's worth, if that offer is still on the table, if Ayton is willing to come to the table, I too am on team. Just go ahead and sign Deandre Ayton and add pieces and run it back. However, it does not seem that is the route that things are going to go. And the Pacers, for some reason, continue to be the name that gets mentioned with Ayton. And I personally kind of hate it. Not because I don't love Ayton. Shawn, you know that I love this man. I think the only person who talks about sports on the air that loves Ayton more than me is probably you. So you're talking to a couple of Ayton stans here, but I feel like the Pacers are just going to put Jalen Smith in the exact same position he was in, and I don't know. I don't know that spending all that money on Ayton, if I'm the Pacers, is worth it. Like, to me, for Phoenix, it's worth it because you're right there. You went to the finals 2 years ago. You very likely, without injury, would have been there again this year, or at least in the Western Conference Finals. So them spending the money on Ayton makes sense. The Pacers are 2 years away at best, and I just don't know that it makes sense to max a guy like Ayton when you have 3 first-round picks in what's looked to be potentially a generational draft coming in 2023. I would almost prefer the Pacers to be bad than to add Ayton and be a guaranteed 7 seed for the next 3 years. But Shawn, am I crazy?
No, not at all. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I hate to agree with you because I feel like you were saying, we've kind of been agreeing a lot, but these are all things you can't really. I mean, it's all makes sense. You know what I'm saying? There's really no. I'd be bullshitting you if I tried to argue against it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be just arguing against it for the sake of arguing. I can't do that, especially regarding these topics. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's. I don't know. Like, it'd be hard. I can only imagine being in your shoes and knowing that you could be getting someone like Ayton, but also how you're torn. Like, if I had Jalen Smith right now on my squad, and I was hearing rumors as well, I'd probably feel the same way. Because I have something here, quite frankly, it's a lot cheaper than signing someone like Deandre Ayton, and it gives me time to see what I have with this guy. If for some reason, we play him for a couple of years and he turns out to stink it up, okay, I didn't spend a lot of money on him, and, I can ship his ass on somewhere else if I need to, and then I can, get someone like a Deandre Ayton or caliber, that type of player, a couple of years from now, or might get lucky and get one in the draft. You know what I'm saying? I know, like you were saying, draft coming up is supposed to be pretty good. Might be able to get some stud in there. Like, it makes sense. Like, I don't blame you for feeling like you want to stay away from that because, I probably feel the same way. But at this current moment in time, I'm over here hoping to God they can make amends and resign this man in Phoenix, because if not, all hell's going to break loose in Suns fan country, I can tell you that. Because, I mean, dudes aren't happy, man. Like, they should have signed this man a year ago. Like, they dicked off, they put it off, they didn't sign him. And I've heard that a lot of it has to do, they feel like they can get someone of his caliber elsewhere. They don't need to pay that kind of money. They don't need to pay him max money. They can get his contributions elsewhere for cheaper. So I'm like, well, you want to be a cheap buck and and try to do that. That's cool, but I really don't think it's going to work out. Like I said, if Ayton goes, people are going to be disappointed, but Suns aren't going to have the same kind of success they've had the last couple of years. Like, it's just not. Like, he's contributed a lot more than the organization at this point, it seems, wants to give him credit for. Like, I don't see how you cannot give him a good bulk of the credit. Yeah, Chris Paul came in and shaped things, for sure. I'll give you that. But people fail to remember, the Suns were on the rise before Chris Paul. Like, that, but undefeated in the bubble with Ricky fucking Rubio, my dude. Like, you know, Chris Paul didn't do it all by himself. Like, Ayton at that point was starting to really come into his own. Like, he was developing hardcore and becoming the kind of player we needed him to become. You know, like, during that time, I really think that time off during COVID, that motherfucker was in the gym getting it. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. Because when the bubble rolled around, them boys was about it. You know what I'm saying? So, Ayton was coming out looking like a perennial all-star when they were playing in the bubble. Booker was on fire as I had expected. You know what I'm saying? So, them boys were playing on top-notch basketball. So, I mean, I feel like they were, you know, I feel like Chris Paul gets a little too much credit. You know, I'll be honest with you. I think he does. You know, yeah, he's been a big help, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take anything away from that dude, but, you know, got to give credit when credit's due, man. Ayton's held down that 5 spot, you know, exceeded expectations, in my opinion. And to turn down signing him to a max contract just plain silly to me, man. I don't get it. I will never get it. And like I told you, my fandom is in the Raptors right now, just kind of hanging by a thread, dude. Because I'll tell you what, man, if they let this man go for practice, especially some goofy shit, whether it's Kevin Durant or a fucking draft pick or whatever.
Miles Turner.
Yeah, Miles Turner, and you know who's that one dude y'all got? Not Brogdon. You guys got rid of Brogdon.
They want what? Buddy Hield.
Was it McConaughey?
Oh, T.J. McConnell. They want T.J. McConnell.
Yeah, y'all still got that dude?
I believe so.
Yeah, y'all keep him. We don't want that dude.
We can send you Rubio back though. We can send you Miles Turner and Ricky Rubio.
I want either one of them dudes. Not for Deandre Ayton, bro. That's for sure. But and it sounds like you don't want him either, so we're in the same boat. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I'm sure whenever I can almost guarantee you, whenever something does happen, and there's news to be said about it, you as listeners can guarantee you're gonna hear me and Kev talk about it, because we'll definitely have something to say, regardless of what happens. But speaking of the Suns, man, I gotta ask you, Kev, how you feel about seeing my boy getting chosen for that 2K cover next year, my dude? This year, 23.
Speaking of things listeners can count on us talking about, as sure as the sun will rise, if Devin Booker's name is trending, we're going to argue about it. Now, for those of you who have sat and listened and thought, man, these two dick riders are just agreeing on everything and I hate it. Well, this segment is for you. Because, dear listener and dear Shawn, and those of you that know, kind of already know my long-running beef with Devin Booker. Everyone knows Shawn B is the D-Book champion. I don't know of anyone who was singing Devin Booker's praises as highly as Shawn was while the dude was averaging 8 points off the bench in college or whatever the fuck he was doing. You know, this kid was, Shawn knew, all right? And he's been fighting with me ever since Devin Booker scored a meaningless 70 points in a blowout loss over the relevancy of this man. He's argued with me that superstar players with the Mamba mentality are allowed to say, y'all can't double team me in a pickup game.
Hey, bro, we're not doubling an open gym, bro. I get that shit all season, bro. Come on, man. Let's work on our game, bro. Let's work on our game. Part of the game. Send it. Running double open gym?
He even had the audacity to defend Devin Booker when he had the referee remove the Raptors mascot during a COVID-impacted arena empty game.
Booker, by the way, Booker's complaining about the Raptor, the lone fan that's there. I mean, the Raptor, he's been sent away. Aaron Smith sent him away. I mean, there's nobody in the gym.
That ain't right. Come on,
Booker
you played at Kentucky.
In which the poor little Raptor was standing under the hoop waving his arms, and superstar Devin Booker just couldn't take the pressure.
That ain't right.
Man, but this guy, this beacon of integrity, the new Mamba himself, Devin Booker, is somehow our 2K23, how dare I, cover athlete. And isn't this another Jordan cover? Like, so is this going to be the one where they have like a Jordan special, which just really irks me. I was already irked at the Kobe Bryant comparisons. Now you're going to put Devin Booker on a Jordan cover, and I'm just going to throw up, Shawn, and then eat my own throw up out of a frozen Ziploc bag like I'm the creators of South Park in an old movie. This hurts.
I can't say I feel you on that one, bro. You want to help yourself to that throw up, because I won't be joining on that. But while you're eating your own vomit, I'm gonna be over here popping, $9 bottles of black velvet whiskey and pouring myself a cold drink over ice, because I'm gonna be celebrating as I pop open some 2K23 with my boy on the cover. Bro, let's go. But might even mess around and pre-order a copy of that this year, dog. Give me a little extra VC. This is how good I'm feeling about it. It's been a long time coming, because there was a time where I don't feel like I have to defend him as much as I used to, because he's proven himself. As much as Kev stays in denial, which I get it. If I was to overlook the Black Mamba reincarnated, and I didn't notice it, but my boy noticed it from the jump, I'd probably deny it too. You know what I'm saying? It's like Kev said, I saw when he was coming off the bench dropping 8 points, in the tourney, bro. So I get it. It's just I don't know how I knew, but I'm sure the fuck never gonna let him forget it. That's for sure. Because when you got that in the bag, bro, you gotta say it with pride. Because dude, I'm not always right, but I've been right on that one, and I'm proud as can be. I was right for a little while about Baker Mayfield. That backfired tremendously, and I'll eat my words. And I'm sure he'll be rubbing that in my face for years to come too. So, hey, I gotta eat shit sometimes too. So it's only fair us here on Bite Size we feed shit to each other when we can, because there's always opportunities. We're never right all the time. But when we're right, damn it, you're going to know we were right.
Yeah, you're going to hear about it.
Forget it.
Of course, I got to hear about it when I'm wrong, so you're going to hear about it when I'm right. And while we're shilling for 2K, and just in case you haven't seen this, Shawn, because you're not as active on Twitter as I am, in honor of this momentous occasion, I guess, NBA 2K22 has released a limited code. I think there's about 5 days left, that if you use it, you will get a 99 overall Dark Matter Invincible Devin Booker card for your My Team. So if you're a My Team guy like me, go just find NBA 2K's Twitter account, the My Team Twitter account. The code's up there. It's all over the internet. It's very easy to find. It's up there for a week. It's basically just like 2K23-My Team-Devin-Booker or something like that. So it sucks to be the guy who misses on that. So this is not sponsored. For the love of God, that'll be the day. But if you're into that game like I am, I want you to make sure you get to cash in on that 99. So, Shawn B, that might be enough to get you in on the Mind Team grind, dude.
I might have to just check it out for that sake, yeah. Because I don't really, as you know, I don't really play the My Team too often, but that's definitely got piqued my interest a bit, bro. I'll have to check that out.
They got a challenge this week, dude. You got to score 70 points with that 99 overall Devin Booker in a game.
Is that a legit challenge?
That's a legit challenge, yes, sir.
Oh, shoot.
Kind of like the Devin Booker challenge that we did all those years ago on our old internet show.
Yeah, I think I had to drop 40. Because we obviously weren't playing a full NBA game of minutes in 2K, but the deal was I had to drop 40 and win the game, which I did. came out victorious. Now, I would not sit here and act like it was easy. This was like, I think, maybe his second year in the league. So he was not nearly as good as he is now in the game. So it took some work, but I was proud of that victory. Like I said, you gotta enjoy them while you get them, because I ain't gonna act like I'm right very often. But when I'm right, damn, it feels good. So
hey man,
soak in it while I can.
I'm gonna let you have Devin Booker this year, and in 2K27, when Paolo Banchero is the cover athlete, I'll expect you to send me some flowers. Yeah, and since you mentioned it already, so I'm just gonna go back to it. And we talked about our athletes that we have argued over, and one of them has once again found his way back into the news. And Baker Mayfield, being that guy, he was traded to Carolina for a conditional 5th-round pick. Now, I do not know the details of this condition, but I expect it is much like the conditional draft pick that the Colts sent to the Eagles when Carson Wentz was traded. Something along the lines of, if Baker takes X amount of snaps, it turns into a 4th-round pick. If he starts a playoff game, it turns into a 3rd-round pick, or yada yada. I'm sure those are the types of conditions that are in line with that. But essentially, the Panthers added, at the very least, some would say upgraded, their quarterback room for the low price of a 5th-round pick. Shawn, I don't even really know where to start with this one. Maybe we start with Carolina, because I know we're going to talk about that other guy that the Browns were supposed to have at quarterback. So maybe we save the Browns for second. But, so do you like this for Carolina?
That's a tough question, dude.
Not as much as you did a few years ago?
Nah, definitely not. No, he's, I'll be honest, man, it's not even so much his play. He just seems like a real shitbag of a dude. Like, it's hard to root for a dude who acts the way he acts, Like, some of the shit he says in his press conferences and just his overall attitude, he just seems like a cocky little shit. And to be fair, if I was playing with a dude like that, if Baker Mayfield and I were on the same high school JV ball team together, and he was acting the way he acts, like, I'd probably be fighting that dude. I'd be throwing hands with that kind of guy. He's not the dude I want in my locker room throwing me the ball. I guess it's not my kind of cat. I like a little bit of cockiness. I like some of the chip on the shoulder kind of stuff. But this dude, it's not even so much a chip on the shoulder. It's just like, I feel like he was still probably drinking his mama's breast milk when he was like 5 years old. He's like that kind of dude. Like, he probably took him a while to get weaned off the tip. You know what I'm saying? He just is a cocky little shit. I don't know what it is. So my opinions have definitely changed over time. I'm definitely not as big of a fan as I once was. And, like I said, I can admit when I was wrong. It took me a while. I didn't want to, but this dude was definitely has got himself in this situation. Now, to be fair, though, to be completely fair, I do think it is kind of shitty that, he did try to play last year hurt, and it backfired on him. And looking back, he probably should have just sat it the fuck out. Probably would have been in his better interest. But they let this dude play. He played like shit because he's hurt as a motherfucker, and then they still, and some of the stuff they said, the way they handled the whole situation, to be honest, the Browns just browned the situation completely. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to put it all on Baker Mayfield, but like I said, it's more of his character that I'd be concerned about if I was bringing him in to play for me. Like, I'm not going to say he's a bust as far as talent goes. Like, I think there's some talent there. I don't know if it's enough to be the guy like I once thought he could be. I thought he could definitely be like a Drew Brees-esque kind of dude, because he did have that chip. He was a little cocky, and the motherfucker, he was pretty accurate in college. You know what I'm saying? So I thought he could pull it off, but he has proved me to be ignorant of the matter, I guess. So I don't know, man. If I was Carolina, I don't feel like a 5th pick is the worst thing to be giving up. I mean, I guess it's worth a shot, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm optimistic of that's going to work out. I mean, you got him and Darnold, the two, since they've both been in the league, they've led the league in interceptions between the two of them. So, I mean, you got, that's a little cool stat, bro, for you. So, I mean, you have that going on. You got the two dudes still with most interceptions competing for your starting job. I don't know if I'd be chilling on. I don't know if I'd be stoked for that if I was working the front office of that team. About that. Let's go here while these dudes throw some fucking picks in practice. I'm ready. Let's pump. Let's go.
Or if I were Robbie Anderson, as he has tweeted or posted on Instagram, I can't remember, that he might just retire. If you remember, he had some words when the Baker to Carolina rumors first surfaced. He was the guy who kept saying no, and also was famous for screaming at Sam Darnold when Sam Darnold saw ghosts the second time around in that horrible game again against New England, where he was just throwing these trash picks and Robbie Anderson's following him up and down the sideline screaming at him. So yeah, the options aren't good in Carolina at the moment. I will say, for some of the same reasons that we mentioned with this Jalen Smith thing in the NBA, I guess I don't hate this for the Panthers, simply because they don't really have any other options. Like, I have seen all that I personally need to see from Sam Darnold. I don't know that there's any point in trying that experiment one more time. And maybe throwing Coral in this early on a team that's not really going to be that good, you know, that has not had a great history for quarterbacks. You know, some of the guys, some of those elite first round, first overall pick kind of guys can maybe get by with it. But I don't know if I were Carolina, why not have Baker go out there? You could run into a situation where we all learned that injury was much more of a factor than maybe we realized. I agree with what you said before. That is the biggest bummer for me for all of this is, you know, this guy plays hurt and it really kind of ruins things for him. And I do put that on the Browns. I put that a little bit on him, but here's the thing. Any athlete that has gotten to the point where they are a professional athlete, 9 times out of 10, I mean, even most non-professionals, like people who commit themselves to things like this, they're not going to let an injury get in the way. If they think they can play, they truly believe that them at 80% or them at 60% is better than the guy behind them. But when you're the Browns and you have Case Keenum, who led a Vikings team not only to the playoffs but to win a couple games, why are you not saying, Baker, sit down, heal up, we'll get you back in 6 weeks. Case Keenum can win us 3 to 4 of these games, and we'll be right there, and you'll be healthy. You'll help us make the playoff push. The Browns and Baker both, you know, obviously Baker's going to want to play. That's why you have team doctors. That's why you have a coach. You're supposed to be able to tell the guy, no, look, I know we want you out there, but we're better off having a guy who's healthy. This is why we brought Case here. Let him carry you for a month or two. You'll come back right as rain, and let's go win the division. No, they didn't do that. They had him play hurt. Things got progressively worse. He got progressively worse. And now this team went, and much in the line of what you said before, they said, we want an adult at quarterback. Made sense when they said it until they went and got Deshaun Watson as their adult at quarterback. Now Baker looks like a fucking saint. How do the optics look for Cleveland that on the day when Deshaun has to talk about his allegations, Baker Mayfield is running a charity in Cleveland on the same day? Who's the fucking adult now? So yeah, and I don't disagree with any of the criticism you had for him. I'm not saying that, but shit, I would take that over this Deshaun stuff. Give me the whiny. You know what? Baker's got a lot. You know who Baker reminds me of a lot? He's Aaron Rodgers without the arm strength. Aaron Rodgers is that same petty little whiny bastard. It's just that he's got the golden arm. You know, if Aaron Rodgers was 5'9" and had Chad Pennington's arm, we'd be saying all the same things about Aaron Rodgers that we say about Baker Mayfield. Some people still do say it. Here I am saying it at the moment, but
Facts, bro.
But it never stopped him from being able to lead a team. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. You ain't wrong about that. I mean, I'd much rather, to agree with you, I'd much rather have Baker than Deshaun at this point. Now, Deshaun's obviously the better talent. There's no denying that. But I don't want the fucking baggage that comes with Deshaun Watson. Dude, I don't want Mr. Diddles on my team. Like, I'm not trying to be dealing with this dude who I have to worry is out here, showing his dick to massage therapists and shit. Like, I don't want that kind of stress in my life. If I'm running a team, I'm sure running an NFL organization is stressful enough. But when you have dudes on your team who you have to worry about sexually abusing people, that's just not something you need to add to your plate, bro. So, yes, as talented as the dude may be, he's obviously a scumbag. I wouldn't want him on my squad. So, yeah, I would keep Baker Mayfield's whiny ass over Deshaun Watson, too. But it's a little too late for that. So, Cleveland's going to have to obviously still, lie in the bed that they dug. So, they made the bed. They weren't to lie in it. So, that's on them. I'm not a Browns fan, so I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
but,
no, this... This is, as a non-Browns fan, this is fantastic because now I no longer have to feel sorry for your organization because you did it to yourself. And might I also add, if we remove the names from this is what history will remember. The Cleveland Browns organization forced out the first quarterback to lead them to the playoffs in 30 years, and they did so in order to pay $230 million guaranteed to a sexual predator who may never take a single snap in a Browns uniform. If that is not the most Cleveland Browns thing of all time, then I will eat my shoes on live stream. Find me a more Browns thing, and I will saute up these feelas and eat them for you on Twitch.
Straight up, dude. Put a little sauce on them, bro.
Yeah. A little bit of that soy. So the Browns will be riding Jacoby Brissett, my man, to a 7-10 record this year. But another team that will probably have a really bad record in a completely different sport, as I do just the slickest frickin' 180 back to the hardwood, will be the Oklahoma City Thunder. One of the worst named franchises in the history of franchises. But anyway, Chet Holmgren, you had maybe caught some of his highlights. I know I did. I caught some of those Salt Lake City Summer League highlights, and I reckon we ought to talk about them. So I've got some thoughts here, but I'll let you go first, Shawn. What have you seen so far from old Chet?
I honestly, this is gonna be real short and sweet because I don't believe in looking too deep into summer league. Obviously,
Heard.
But I will say what I saw, he looks good. But I have to keep in mind he's playing against a bunch of has-beens and never will be's. Like a lot of these dudes are old vets who try to get to the league, or young bucks who are trying to make it to the league that probably never will. So he's playing against, in my opinion, inferior talent for the most part. So, I mean, the level of competition is not nothing for me to really put too much weight in yet. Did he look good? Hell yeah, he did. I mean, he was out there smoking foes. I mean, there's no denying that. But if you're going to be able to do that against cats like, Nikola Jokic and, Joam, can't talk right now, Embiid, dudes like that, like, Carl Anthony Towns, like those kind of players. Like, is he going to be able to play like that against those dudes? That's yet to be seen. So, I'm being patient. I'm remaining, calm and trying to be level-headed about it. Like, that game, he looked good, man. No denying it. But it's too early to tell. And he's back in the woods. What do you think, Kev? What's your thoughts on it, bro?
Yeah, first, I 100% agree. We share in that sentiment about the Summer League. Now, I have also, I've been known to get high on some kids at Summer League. Shawn, you were one who had to hear about all my Chris Duarte talk last year, but part of that was because that dude hit about 6 buzzer beaters in Summer League. That is something that to me does translate, short game, late game situations. That is something I can take from Summer League and say, oh, this dude is hitting a bunch of last minute shots. He's clutch. It doesn't matter who's the person standing in front of him. It's about what's going on between his ears. Awesome. That's tangible. I can work with that. When it comes to the physical stuff, I agree with you. I saw a lot of plays on that highlight reel that in the regular season, that's a turnover. That's 2 points the other way, and that's likely a seat next to coach because you waited 2 whole seconds to make that pass, and you passed it after your man was no longer open and the defender had recovered. It's just like you said, Shawn, tonight you were playing against a cat who's wearing the number 70 on his jersey and will never, will probably only make it to the G League. So you're able to get, it looks like, what a great assist. But the reality is no, he missed an open cutter and the defense was so behind that he was still able to get the late pass there. Some of the stuff, like some of those blocked shots, I don't think he's doing that in the league. Some of those blocks, I'm like, this dude's an idiot he's doing that thing you did when you were in middle school and you just, like, there was a tall kid next to you, so you just, like, stick your ass into him and you do, like, 16 pump fakes thinking that one of them will work, and then you go up for the shot and you don't even get the ball above your shoulders because the high school kid's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you dummy? So I saw a couple of those plays. Some of the behind the back, some of the dribbling and passing stuff, like I said, you're not getting away with that against the top levels of the league. But the shooting form, stuff like that looked good. The shooting form, the 3-point stroke reminded me of a young KD. The drop step fade away from the foul line, no joke, guys. Go and watch that film. It is Dirk, frame to frame. It's Dirk. Like, he watched Dirk's film and he practiced it.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing when outside. I was like, "Ooh, that's Dirk."
Yeah,
100.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I'm kind of with you, Shawn. Here, it's too soon to tell. I do not expect him to be. I don't even think he'll be like a solid Rookie of the Year candidate. Once we get past the All-Star break, I think early in the season he'll be in those talks because he was a lottery pick. But I think by the end of the year, Chet will just be okay, and that's fine. He doesn't need to be Kevin Durant right away. He can be, Dirk Nowitzki was not Dirk Nowitzki right away. So he's got some time to get, and that's such a good young core. The one thing I'll say, and maybe we can wrap on this, based on the NBA draft in the early offseason, I cannot wait. I mentioned them earlier, and we just talked about some of the Thunder now. But, dude, the Pistons and the Thunder, those are some two teams, despite how much I hate their branding, like, gross, the teams themselves, the athletes on the court, I cannot wait to watch these two teams play basketball over the next couple of years.
I agree. They're definitely going to be fun teams to watch. A lot of youth on their squad, and it's always fun to watch young players develop, especially ones that you have a lot of hope for and shit, so I'm all about that as well. Pistons are going to definitely be fun. I'm excited to see what they do. There's quite a few teams. Honestly, boys, Pacers, I'm excited to see what they do, having Halliburton and some of the pieces you guys got over there. That's going to be fun to watch. And, even the Cavaliers. Like, there's a lot of teams, especially in the East, man, I'm excited to see. Orlando now with, Banchero. I'm going to see what he does. It's going to be fun, man. I think the NBA is in a good state, man. I honestly do. There's going to be a lot of fun basketball ahead, so I'm excited for that for sure. But, yeah, that's pretty much my closing thoughts. I appreciate you having me on here and get to chat it up, bro. And I hope you guys at home listening enjoyed the show. Hope you guys were entertained for sure.
And that is that. Y'all can subscribe for more. I'm probably going to break down some of this game tape we've been talking about, but in the meantime, just subscribe, and then I don't have to tell you what's coming next because you'll be here. All right, see ya.